Are we on?
White Axe, you left me hanging. I was there for about
Mate,
5 minutes.
sorry, mate. I'm on the other end today. I don't even know how to do it this way round.
Mate, I was sitting there snorting my nose and that. Just waiting awkwardly. You left me sitting there.
We might edit that bit on the YouTube video then.
Yeah, we might have to cut that bit out. How are you, mate?
How you going, mate?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good, mate.
Cup of
With G and JB.
Yeah, well,
Tea with G and
bad.
JB.
You had a haircut since this morning.
This morning, mate, just for this video, mate.
Oh, that's pretty impressive. Now, mate,
Mm.
we're going to be interviewing you today. You a bit excited?
We are. It's flipped around. Yeah, it's cool. Because obviously you haven't told me what you're going to throw at me, so I'm just going to be hopefully not offending people.
No, you'll be right, mate. We'll get there. Now, let's get straight into it, G, because we only got an hour, and you know we can waffle on for a bit.
That's right. That's right.
So you want to tell us just a little bit about yourself before we start, and then we'll get into a bit of what's brought you here today.
100%, mate. Mate, I was born a couple of years ago in a place called Halifax, England. I grew up there, lived there as 12, and I emigrated to Australia. Rugby League history, but I was a gymnast as a kid. My aim was to get in the Australian Institute of Sport as a child for gymnastics. Didn't quite happen because I wasn't an Australian resident at the time that I moved over here, but then I got an opportunity, moved to Canberra, then went to, we got an opportunity from Perth to open up, to get in the Western Australian Institute of Sport. Myself and my dad flew to the other side of the country, got an opportunity to become in that really good program when it was all starting up, their gymnastics program. And, you know, back then I was training 32 to 36 hours a week. It was hardcore at a young age, 12 years old. It was 2 hours in the morning, 4 hours after school, 6 hours Saturday.
How many hours were you doing at schoolwork?
We had school, but we went to Perth Modern High, and what they did, they let us have subjects off. Like we didn't do any woodwork, any electives. Yep. We had to do our homework in then. Well, that's when it all went downhill because no one was.
Yeah.
Well, no. Grade 8 I was good. Up until grade 8 I wasn't bad at school. Then
well, that's
grade 9 everything was left to me. So when I was at school, supposed to be doing my homework in the electives, went to the libraries. Well, all the other gymnasts were in there too, and we just fucked around. So so when I got home, we were training after school for 4 hours. So I didn't do any homework, and my schooling went down from there, to be honest. But then, so I finished school over there. Went to another school called Leeming High School. I went to 6 high schools.
Yeah, so that would have been pretty tough.
6 different high schools.
Yeah.
It was hard. I always felt I was. Yeah, I always felt I was the one moving around, and I could never get settled. But then again, I know my parents really put the effort in for me to try and have the best opportunity moving forward. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Actually,
I came here when I was 17.
So, do you want to tell us a little bit about your parents and how your dad's played a big influence on just your sporting career, especially?
Yeah, 100%. So, Dad was an athlete himself. He was a good footballer, good rugby league player, played for Halifax in England. Unfortunately, had career-ending injuries at 23 years old, which that's your age. Yeah. Imagine being told you can't play anymore or you can't box anymore. So that was tough, and he always wanted to play. His goal wasn't to win Challenge Cup finals or big leagues over there. It was actually to come and play in Australia. So eventually we moved here, but it was after his his injuries and everything. Yeah, so that was what his goal was. And then, so my dad's really, he's always been helping me stay motivated. Like, you know, pretty much he says to me, we say it in different ways, but he's exactly what I do. If you want to get anywhere, you just got to work hard. That's 100%. Mum's always worked for herself. So she's always been a worker. She left school at 14, got an apprenticeship, set up her own business before she finished her apprenticeship. She owned her own business at 16 years old, a hairdressing salons. Imagine 16-year-old kids doing that now. They'd be cutting people's ears off and stuff. It wouldn't be, it's a different world now. And so that's been a big influence on me,
Yeah, and your sister runs her own business as well, so it's obviously both your parents have passed on good values and a good work ethic.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. I'd like to think I'll do. If I set a goal, I'll try and do whatever is needed to try and accomplish it. That's hopefully what I can try and do. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And so we touched on gymnastics. After gymnastics, you moved into playing a bit of rugby league. You want to touch on that?
Yep. So my rugby league was always my passion because when I was in England, I followed a team called Halifax, and there was actually a lot of Australians that came over and played for our club at the time. My dad, that's who I followed. Sorry, and then so I was in Perth, and I finished my gymnastics, and I started playing rugby league there. Under 15, I didn't start till under 15s because my gymnastics take all my time up. Well, I was 15 actually. In my second year, I represented Western Australia in the Australian Schoolboys Championships, which was pretty cool. Played against some top players, but there was a difference between Western Australian level and Queensland and New South Wales. We were probably the best out of the other states, but then Queensland, New South Wales were like head and shoulders above everybody else. So and then rugby league, and I'd always want to be a rugby league player. And then I played a couple of years at South. We moved to Queensland. Then I played for South's under 19s, and had an opportunity to go overseas and trial out. Well, it was my idea. Spoke to my dad. He said, "Let's do it." So we wrote a few letters to a few clubs, asked if they'd give me a trial, and I got accepted by a team called Keithley Cougars, who at the time were red hot, won the league. And I was only a young fella. I wasn't the top dog by no means when I went over there or anything. But I had a great time. Played with some tremendous players, people that had played for. I played with a guy that played for the All Blacks in a World Cup final. Played with lots of different experienced guys, and it was amazing. It was amazing. And then I come back and played in the Queensland Cup for a few years.
Yeah, how'd you find that experience overseas at a young age? Well, how old would you have been? Like early 20s?
So I'd just gone 19.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I'd just gone 19. It was my birthday's in the August, the September I left. So I'd just gone 19. And it was like, well, let's go and have a go. Let's just give it a go. And I went there on a trial, paid for my own way over there for trials. It was never about money or anything like that. Played, had some good games, but did okay. Really opened my eyes up to that there's another world rather than Australian rugby league. You know what I mean? Yeah. I enjoyed that time over there. I lived with some good people. Ian Gately, who played for Manly, Grant Dury, who's now an international rugby coach. He's coached at the World Cup. Me and him were flatmates. We lived together over there, had some good times. But I got off. I had trials, organised trials at Bradford Bulls, who were a Super League team the next year, and I broke my ankle, and pretty much I came home after that. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. So after you've come back after the ankle injury, come home, where's your life taking you from there? Is that when boxing?
So from
started?
there, not straight away. So when I came back from playing overseas, I played 3 years at Logan City Scorpions. My mates will be cheering now if they're listening, or later on when they listen. And that was good. We had a good crew of people. We really bonded really well. We had some good mates around. And then I had 2 years. I had 2 years at Ipswich Jets. Got injured in my second season early on. I was just having problems. I had a rib injury. and I cut my eye at work. I was working on construction. I threw.
did that the other week.
Yeah. Well, I actually cut my eyeball.
Oh,
I threw this bit of air conditioning duct on the back of a truck.
Yeah.
And a bit of wire got caught on the tree and snapped me in the eye, and I was in so much pain. Anyway, I tried to keep going, and they sent me to work, and they sent me to the hospital, and so anyway, I was having quite a few injuries and things not going right. About round 5, I rang up a coach called Billy Gardner, who used to be an assistant to Wayne Bennett at the Broncos, and he was the Ipswich coach. I said, look, I'm going to can this season. I said, I just can't. I can't get everything right. I keep getting injured all through the off season and everything. I said, I'm going to go down to the local boxing club, stay fit, be back next year. Well, I haven't played footy since, pretty much, and that was like 2000 or something like that. Yeah. So, I went to Woodridge, Logan PCYC. That's where I started. Yeah, and that sort of started with a great man, rest in peace, Liam White. He just passed away a few months ago, and he was probably what I needed at that time as well.
So what age were you?
Young man, here? Few injuries.
When you started when you've gone down the PCYC?
24, 25.
Okay.
25, I think. 24, 25. So I was a late starter.
Yeah.
Look, so starting at that age, you never begun to become a world champion if you start at 25 years old. But my goal was to be as good as I could be, and that was all what I was trying to do.
Well, that's all we can do anyway, no matter what age you start at or what ability you've got.
That's right.
Yeah. So what you've had some. So you started boxing. What drew you to boxing? Were you always still a hard worker when you did start?
Yeah.
Like did the gymnastics and NRL transfer over?
Yeah.
Like both of those.
One thing that I always prided myself on, I wasn't a talented, most skilled boxer at all. I was a footballer fighting, pretty much. That's what I was.
Yeah.
But I was always fitter than everybody else, and I had a massive will. And that's what I think my asset was. It was later on, when I actually got into coaching, that I started thinking there's got to be more skill development in this boxing world. At the time, it was just punch hard, punch hard, punch hard.
So that would have come from your gymnastics background too.
Through my gymnastics background, I've got to think there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way of teaching kids basic steps so that like in gymnastics, you've got to hold body position before you're allowed to do a handstand. You've got to be able to know your body's strong enough to hold it. Rugby league, well, you can't go doing anything unless you know how to hold the ball properly. When I came to boxing, it was hands in the gloves, that's a jab, that's a straight right hand, your feet are apart, and you just start punching. Well, I thought, I just thought later on, I didn't know any different at the time. So later on, that's when I started thinking, there's got to be more to this. There's got to be more to this that you can get right rather than... So a lot of boxing clubs at the time, I don't know about now, probably similar, spend 3 months in the bag in the corner, show you've got heart. Yeah, well, got heart, but that's 3 months of bad habits you've picked up.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's why I try and stance. Sometimes kids get bored with going over the basic steps, but you know what? If you forget about your basics, you're done. Your game's over anyway.
Yeah, I remember when I first started at the gym, and that's how it kind of started. I'd jump in and spar, and I was getting battered and just doing things wrong. But every session we'd start with just basic skills.
Basic drills,
and
basic
you know
drills.
What? How many fights on, and we still do the same thing.
Still do the same. Still do the same. Some people think I think some people think they're maybe above practicing the basic stuff. Oh, that's so basic. Well, guess what? There's only 6 punches. There's straights, there's hooks, and there's uppercuts. What else is there? You gain experience as you go along. You just got to keep perfecting. Make sure your basics are right, and then you can move forward.
Yeah, well, that's basically what it all comes down to. I think like we do learn all those advanced moves as you get better, but even like given our last year, everything you've said was just go back to basics, because if things start going wrong for you when you're doing everything fancy and you can't fall back on that, then it's a shit place to get found
That
out.
that's right. When you've copped a couple on the chin and you haven't got good basic defence, what are you going to go back to? Hands down, chin, on your back.
Yeah.
And
Like,
some people I know watch your videos and they go, "Oh, but Jack's all fancy," huh? But that happens when the tide's already swung.
yeah, but
It
that's
doesn't.
also
It doesn't start like that.
yeah, but I'm also not going to show you 10 minutes or a minute and a half of me doing basic things, am I? I'm just going to show you
You
the
just
fun stuff.
practice your steps forward, step backwards. That's right. Yeah.
All right, G, I got a couple questions because obviously after boxing kind of finished for you, moved into the coaching aspect of boxing. I'll ask you a big question first. What sets you
Okay.
aside from other coaches in Australia?
Oh, and like I said, I wasn't prepared for any of these.
Doesn't have to like
What else?
just your opinion on just something you do really well that's maybe getting lost. Because I know in my head what I think, but I'd like to hear your kind of take on it.
I actually think what I do. I know I spend a lot of time on basic skills. Okay, so that's that. But I think my positive is the way I think it's the relationship I have with the athletes
Yeah.
and how I know how to speak individually to each person, but each person is differently. I think that's my strength.
Yeah.
What do you
And
think?
I agree with you. Another thing I had was I feel like you're always evolving. You're not stuck in your ways, which I do see that a
Yep.
lot is like in our country, especially.
Yep.
People just, what I do is right and that's all. But I think
Yep.
that's you as a person as well. In trying to, I don't know, you've always got good ideas and then you try and make them happen,
Yep.
like you said before. Like it's not
Yeah.
just, I'm the coach, this is what I do. It's, all right,
Yeah.
how can we get bigger? How can we do this better? But I think that's
Yeah.
flows into your mindset as a businessman as well.
Yeah.
Do you agree with
I
that
think,
or?
oh, 100%. Like as you're talking now, my head's going back to all the things I've done that I thought, holy shit, like the fight nights we had. We had them at Gambaras when Don Broadhurst was with us. You were like, what, 14 or something,
Yeah, I
15 then?
remember. I
I don't
remember
know.
sitting there filming it, watching it.
Yeah.
Mm.
So those ones, we've done those ones. We've done the big ones when we've done 2 shows with Ricky Hatton. Who does that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what an opportunity. And one of my
MTK,
sayings is co-promoted with MTK Global.
IFL
Like
TV, like, yeah,
IFL TV, yeah, it was excellent. All those things in the EBC, that was a massive thing that we did. We got amateur boxing televised in the Oceania region, which, again, once people see you, I remember a mate of mine that I used to work with said, "Are you sure you're going to leave work and this and that?
Mm.
You can't make money out of boxing." So that was one of the things that sort of half made me go, "Oh, let's go then.
Yeah,
Let's go then. Yeah, I'll show you."
Yeah. I think that is one thing you are good at. And sometimes you'll be talking and I think you're listening to what I'm saying, but your mind's going boom, 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 boom. And I can tell you're thinking about so many ideas about what I'm saying or what you're thinking of. And I think that's
I
one of
do
your
that, and
best attributes. Yeah.
whether it's a positive or negative sometimes, because sometimes I'm
Yes.
I'm in the moment, but sometimes I try and think 3 or 4 steps ahead. Like you might say something to me, and I'm going, "Oh yeah," and then we could do this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and add on.
So many
And then,
times,
but
yeah.
my head does that, and sometimes I disappoint myself by not doing all these ideas that I have. But I have so many of them; it'd be physically impossible to do them.
You've got to a fair few of them, to be fair.
Yeah.
And you just named a few yourself,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like.
So basically, when you first started out, I remember you talking to me about when you went to the AIS and you had a little notebook and you used to sit there and take notes on whatever all the coaches are saying, all the drills they were doing, and you've got that passion for the sport. I just want to get any advice you'd give to young coaches out there or even young athletes starting out in the sport.
learning. You've got to be an open book and take it on board. So going back to what you just said, I'll develop on what happened. So I was a young coach, opened my gym, got an opportunity with an NTID program. So what happened? Big group of coaches were all taken down there. I went down there, and it was like listen to what was going on, listen and learn at training. Then a lot of the other coaches were just going and sitting, having smoko, or I don't know, having a feed, sitting down until the next training session.
Yeah.
But no, fuck that. What I was doing was going to that training session. I might have the lunch or, have a feed. Yeah. And then, bam, I'd run across into the strength and conditioning room. I'd go and ask Ross questions on what does he think this and how am I doing things? Am I doing things right or wrong? And I'd be writing down on training plans. Then the next minute, I'd go and have a meeting, organise myself a meeting while everybody's going to bed. I'd go and have a meeting with the dietitian and then the recovery and then the sleep professional and then all these different people. So I was like a thief down there. Yeah. It was a camp that I didn't have to pay for, and I was stealing so much information off everybody. But sometimes when somebody's that keen in front of you, you're willing to give. You're willing to give, and I was fucking. I'm down here for a week. I'm not just going to sit and watch, and because a few of the coaches, to be honest, were like a bit. Oh no, we can't do this in our gym. And in my mind, I'm going. I'll find a way how to do this in our gym, and I'll find a way. I know. This is the perfect scenario of doing 2 and 3 sessions a week, and that's all they had to do. But I won't write it off immediately. I'll make a way of implementing most of these things every day in the gym or however. So that's how I did it. And look, like track work, I don't have to be there to watch you do track.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I send you programs on Thursday mornings, you just do it. If you don't do it, you're fucking lazy. Simple.
Yeah. But I think that's something that's come over time with experience, because when I was 16, 17 doing track, you were at every track session. And if the boys... Yeah,
that's right, yeah.
And you'd, fucking so-and-so didn't turn up. Oh, this bloke didn't turn up. You get frustrated with it. When now, I think you don't even give that any energy. If you want to do it, I'm here. If you don't, then, don't worry about it. Gonna be, don't give me an excuse why you lose. Yeah.
There's been so many talented kids come through the door that don't have that. I suppose the work ethic, whatever it is. There's so much talent's come through the door, and in the past you put all your hope into them, and it doesn't happen because they want to do other things, that's fine. And so many boxing coaches would have exactly the same story, but I just.
Well, I've seen them all come.
Yeah, that's right. Now I get
hope, and then it's just after
right.
a while. I've seen.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Yeah, that's right. No, I'm going to do this. Going to do that.
Used to get real hopeful and excited about someone coming through, and then it'd just be the same kind of thing. And then now, if it's just if you want to do it, you want to do it. I think you got. Your attitude's changed towards it a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to force people to do it,
If, people can say what they want. I'm always there. Are you?
Yeah.
Sure. You know what I mean? I'm always there. Are you there? Don't question me. Question yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think in this boxing game, that gets missed a little bit sometimes. As far as looking in the mirror. Taking ownership of what's really going on. Everybody always wants to blame somebody else. It's the coach's fault. It's this's fault. It's, you know what I mean? Take a look in the mirror. If you did everything perfect, like didn't eat that lolly when you weren't supposed to, didn't eat that ice cream, you know what I mean? All those things. If you did everything perfect, then you can maybe look at what else is going on around you.
Well, I've seen that over the years. I just don't, I've never got it when people blame the coaches. I don't know. It's a real weak way out, I think. But there's all types of excuses. But blaming the coach, I remember McGregor talking about it, and he was saying I've had the same team for such a long time, because he was fighting Eddie Alvarez, and he was saying, I've got a new trainer, I'm going to win this fight because we're trying different things, but most of it's the same shit you do in camp, even if you change coaches. Not that I ever have, but it's all the same shit. It all comes back to you, and going and like the grass isn't always greener, and you can't always be blaming the coach for sure.
Yeah. Oh, so like there's nothing worse than a fighter get out and lose and go, oh, I should have been fitter. Why weren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't do this at the gym. We didn't do this.
Spar enough.
Have you been getting up doing your running? No, I've got to work. Well, so does everybody else. So what bullshit excuse are you actually going to come up with rather than look in the mirror and say, fuck, why didn't I work harder?
For sure.
You know, it's you know what, I actually get the shit sometimes when we do group sessions at the gym, or you can do it anywhere. And some people around fit and go, oh, that wasn't very hard. You're like, if you do it properly, if you would do it properly, you know, and not trying to cut corners while you're doing it, it's not like you can be buggered doing 5 50-meter sprints if you put the right effort in.
Yeah.
Or shadowboxing for 6 3-minute rounds. You can be tired. Yeah, you'll recover and everything, but you'll be sweating. You can get tired doing the most basic of things if you do them correctly.
Yeah.
It's just whether you want to put the work in.
Yeah, like last night, you know that little circuit you had us doing, the strength circuit? It wasn't that hard, but when you like sprint in between, because I like run in between the sets and get to the place really quick. If you add all those little things, it actually is hard. Like I was cooked up.
Builds up. Yeah, it builds up.
Gee, I know you've been watching The Last Dance, right? And I know this isn't part of your story, but I want to get your take.
And I'm pretty sad about it.
It's a little bit relevant. Well,
finished.
I got 2 episodes to go still. I've got my night tonight. I'm going to sit down and watch it. So I just want to get your take on it. It's a little bit of a buzz around it at the moment, a little bit relevant. So tell us your perspective on the Michael Jordan, just his attitude towards even training with other people or his teammates. Because I know I spoke to you about it the other day.
I think it is first class. I love it. I love his attitude.
A lot of people have come out and said he's a bit of a dick for the way he carried on.
Mate, how many NBA finals did they win?
100%. 100%.
If you want to be great, I say it all the time. If you want to be great, you've got to do what others won't do.
Yeah.
And Michael Jordan's way of being great and having so much success, let's be honest, you take Michael Jordan out of that team, they won't be the best NBA team that ever lived.
Yeah.
You take anybody else out,
wasn't he, with the baseball?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But if you take Jordan out of all those 6 premierships, right? They're not the best team that ever walked the planet Earth. You take anybody else out, they could have still done it.
You reckon even the other 2, Pittman and Rodman? Well, Pippen.
Pippen. Look, I think they were great, but Michael Jordan was next level because of his intensity. You know, they were more scared of him doing something wrong at training than the coach. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. That's, mate. If you are that heavily hell bent on success, mate, I loved it. I loved his attitude, the way he spoke to other people. They knew he was serious all the time, and guess what? They provided for him. Nowadays, he can sit back and, boys, what about all the blues we had on the training court?
Yeah.
Do you think they care now? They got fucking 6 rings, mate.
Yeah, true.
You think they care now? No. You just got to live your life to the full.
You know how we're talking about it the other day? Do you think it can transfer into boxing, that attitude? Say if you've got an athlete at the gym that's wired that way, do you think that provides like a good culture for the gym still? Because it's an individual sport?
I'm unsure. It can be done a different way. You can't follow the same lead because it's different. But it can be done in a very similar way.
Yeah, because I was saying to you, like, I feel that way sometimes when I'm training, right? But you wouldn't go out and say it to someone because I don't think... Yeah, it's not on me. Because I know I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah. I say just be yourself. If somebody else is hampering your progression, say it.
100. Yeah, true. Yeah.
If somebody else is slowing everything down or doing something so you can't progress, you have every right to say something.
Mm.
But I believe, but don't just go around being a dick and saying stupid stuff. You know what I mean? If you're not willing to go forward and do it extra.
Yeah. I think we're lucky at
when
our
I
gym.
had,
we don't really have that.
Yeah.
Everyone's there for to work hard, and they might have different goals. Because we're all on different paths, but I think everyone down there does work hard, so we don't have that need to. But
that's right.
I just thought I'd get your take on that.
Yeah, I did an interview with Ben Teo last week, and we mentioned briefly about this too. And he said when he first went to the Brisbane Broncos, Justin Hodges was exactly the same as Jordan was to him.
Yeah, right.
Into him. But he said, I look back now, it's the best thing that ever happened. I knew how hard I had to go to be successful.
Yeah.
You know, so and that's the thing. If you're, again, if you want to be great, you've got to go to measures that people that don't want to be great won't go to.
Yeah, for sure. I found the whole doco has been pretty good, and the footage they've had from back there, and it's been applied well. Now, G, you run your own business. You have for about how many years? It's over 10, maybe 15?
15 years, about
15
that.
years?
All up, it's been 15, yeah.
Yeah, so 15 years with the boxing shop. Now, can you touch on some of the, we go around, and because I work for you, the boss, we go around and you talk to schools about
That's what you got to call me now.
Yeah, well, I do anyway.
Just take it's just boss.
You go around, you talk to kids a bit about your story, and I always admire the part where you go, like, you've had the gym for such a long time, but the first 5 years, I think you say, you were just floating in your own dream.
Yeah.
And you weren't reassessing in like you do now. Do you want to just touch a little bit on that? Because I think
I will do. So
talk about.
Yeah, so obviously the story you're talking about was my dream was always to open up my own gym. So I did it, and I sat on that for about 5 years. But I couldn't realize why the next thing wasn't happening, because I hadn't reassessed my own goal. I was just, I set up my own gym on the smell of an oily rag. I was training in the backyard shed. I had a backyard shed at my mate's place, and I started training there. Started training 2 people. Well, eventually in about 8 weeks, it grew to 30 people, and neighbours were complaining. Everyone was happening and then they came 2 nights a week. So I started earning a little. Well, they were paying $10 each, but I was only earning $20 for a week at the start.
Yeah.
So move on from there. Yeah, when I opened that gym, I was so excited about opening the gym, and I had no money to open it. So I did a deal with the university. First 2 years, I didn't have to pay rent. Well, the deal was that I supplied programs for them, so that they could sell and make the money back. So that was what my idea was. Went in this meeting, come out with the plan that it was like I'd do boot camps, I'd run different uni programs, and they could sell them and make the money, so I could get my business off the ground for 2 years. Once I'd done this, I was all excited. Yeah, I'm opening up my own gym. It was excellent. And then I'm going, fuck me. I've only got 1 boxing pads and 2 sets of pads. How am I going to open a gym? So I went to Madison Sport, did a deal with Madison Sport. I organised a meeting, went and spoke to them. Said, right, for 2 years I'm opening the gym at the Griffith University. Anyway, cut a long story short, I walked out of there with $20,000 worth of equipment. That helped me set my gym up. That's it. Spending long hours there cleaning and doing things, me and my family, just to organise it and get it going. And then I was open. But like you said, I did my programs, and then I didn't reassess my goal. First 5 years, exactly how you said, I was floating. I was like, oh, now what? Is this what it's like? Just own a gym? And I didn't realise that I hadn't actually challenged myself to go somewhere further.
Mm.
So after a couple of years, I actually wrote a letter to Wayne Bennett. He was at the Broncos back then, and said, look, I dead set wrote this letter, and I'd screwed it up. I physically handwrote it. Wrote a letter, screwed it up. I must have wrote about 4 times. I was all shamed out, thinking, oh, no, you can't write that. And I put, oh, fuck it. Just wrote, Dear Wayne, or Mr. Bennett, I think I addressed it. I want to be the best boxing coach in the world, and I don't just want to learn off boxing people. And I reckon, anyway, elaborated on the story, what I wanted to do with my life, and pretty much I reckon my letter was on his desk for about 35 seconds, and I got a phone call. When do you want to come in? What? So there was a guy called Dean Benton rang me. He said, oh, Wayne's told me you can come in. So when? Whenever you want. So I started the next day and I stayed there. And after a week, he said, you can come back. And I started making a relationship then with those guys. And to this day, obviously, still friends with quite a few of the guys and do a bit of work with the Broncos here every now and again. And that was after a couple of years. And I thought, oh, that was like a little goal I'd set because I did it. But then I was still going through the next phase of my life. Like, oh, yeah, training. And, yeah, man, it was – you've got to keep reassessing your goals. You've got to keep reassessing. Yeah. Like I said to you, what do you want to do? Win a world title? Well, guess what? So many people in Australian boxing have won a world title, and then what happens? They lose it.
Yeah.
You've got to keep reassessing your goal. You've got to stay hungry.
Yeah, for sure. They get comfortable. Part of reassessing though, recently you've started, actually not recently, but you've started doing your school programs and boxing beyond barriers. Do you want to touch a little bit on that, how you got started?
So to be honest, like skipping forward a little bit, most of the kids are just like I was at school.
Yeah, for sure.
Didn't listen to much. All I wanted to do was play footy or sport. Didn't really care about what anybody else said.
Although a lot of the kids we get don't even have a focus like outside of school even. So like a lot of them don't have much sporting goals so I think the program helps them find that as well.
So we go obviously. So originally I started the program probably 10 years ago. And one of my first schools was actually a guy that I still stay in touch with now, was Clairvaux High School. And to this day, I'm still doing Clairvaux School, working with their kids, classes disengaged. And my first ever class had Anthony Milford in it, who plays for the Brisbane Broncos. My first ever school program. Because after he come back from Canberra, Hodjo brought him into the gym. He goes, oh, Milf wants to try. I said, oh, yeah. And I just thought he was a little kid back then. I didn't realise. So he's come back and he goes, hey, gee, you still take those kids at Clairvaux? And I went, fuck, you were one of them, weren't you? Yeah. He's like, yeah, we laughed and everything. But so it was, you know what? It was really hard to go to schools saying you're a boxing guy, getting past the front counter. So many schools just knocked me back. They thought I was like selling my product, boxing. Yeah, they wouldn't listen to me pretty much. I never even got to speak to the principal. Anyway, an old football coach of mine was deputy principal at Clairvaux, and that was my opening. Well, then he moved to another school, and I got an opportunity there, another school. So 2 schools opened the door. Clairvaux kept going with me after he'd left it because it's a mentoring program. It's about helping. In a nutshell, it's about helping young people make better decisions with their life. Would you agree? Yeah.
I think it just teaches core values as well, like respect, discipline, even like confidence as well. Like you see from, say you do a term and you see from week 1 to week, say 8 or 9, they're completely different humans. And then we get feedback from the teachers that they're doing this, and then they've got little things that they might go get a job, or they might do a resume. They might even start up boxing. They might do something. So I think it's good for the kids, and I love doing it.
So Clairvaux McKill at the school that I'm talking about. Oh shit, Clairvaux McKill at the school that I'm talking about. We're actually doing a drum program, another program through Magrat PCYC with a police officer called Gary Penny. who's retired now, legend of a man, great start. He was saying to a guy from Clairvaux, said, I need some guy boxing. He said, oh, ring Gareth. So anyway, made a relationship. Me and Gary got along like a house on fire because he's old school hard too. He's like, you know, if they do something wrong, he'd be like, what the fuck are you doing, mate? Like, you know what I mean? Like he'd speak to them in that terms, and it was all about respect. Anyway, so, well, when a police officer started ringing the schools for our program, doing it through PCYC,
you got your foot in the door a bit quicker.
They'd answer the phone a little differently. And one thing I always say, if you get the door open this far, you got to kick the fucker down.
Yeah.
You know, there's no point in having a door open for you and not walking through it.
Mm. So you started with one school, and how many do you have now?
Mate, we've worked with
schools,
17
PCYC and other programs.
PCYC.
YMCA.
Yep, lots of YMCA. We've got lots of different schools. We've worked with 17 schools. We don't do them all at the same time, but 17 schools and organisations we run our Boxing Beyond Barriers program with. And look, to be honest, I want to take it all over the state, as far and wide as it'll go, because there's never been any negative chat about it. The references I've had from parents, teachers, everybody loves it because we're a bit old school. We're like, mate, stand with your toes on that line. If they want to mess around, as you know, well, they start with 10 burpees. If they question it, doubles. And before long, they're at 900 burpees and I'll listen next time. Yeah. So it's just a bit of old school values, a bit of respect, and we shake their hands, as you know. We look each other in the eye and we teach them. It's not just a men's program, but we teach the men like young men and the women like young women rather than little girls or little boys, you know, which sometimes can get a little bit lost at school, I think.
Yeah. I do think they lack that role model to come in and from the outside you're not a police officer, you're not 100% strict on them about things outside of school that they're up to, but you're not a teacher and you're not giving them a heap of, like,
that's right.
You do give encouragement, but you're hard on them and firm. And you can get away with a few more things because you're not that person, you know?
Yeah.
Look, G, do you want to just talk about a couple hurdles you've had to overcome, whether that be in business or as an athlete, even as a father? I don't know. You might have some stories for me.
So I suppose I've had, like everybody, I've had quite a few hurdles. One, when I was playing rugby league, I broke my ankle, and for years in England, and for years I blamed that. Yeah. Probably wasn't until 10, 12 years later that I probably started thinking about my past, and I could have done it better.
Yeah.
I could have done it better rather than, just sort of, your own, just looking in the mirror
excuses.
Yeah, that's right. Nobody else's, nothing else's fault except my own. When you look, I'm not saying I agree with everything everybody says. Don't get me wrong. Like, sometimes I think so and so's a dickhead, and that's the way it is. That's life. But and everybody would think that way. But I that was, you know, looking in the mirror was a big thing there. Look, I've had a lot of things not go ideally right. I've had 2 knee reconstructions when I was boxing, and one obviously 8 months ago, and it's still not going really well. I broke my thumbs. Injuries, a few personal things.
Yeah.
I had a few injuries, a few cuts. I got injured at work a few times.
Even this coronavirus has chucked a spanner in the works for you. I know it's been a hard time.
Yeah.
But you're one of those people who's just really resilient and you know where you want to go, and you just keep pushing and pushing. And as an athlete, it's good to have someone to look up to. It's not like you say it and don't back it up. Yeah. You are constantly doing those things, you know.
Since the coronavirus and the gym was shut down for straight away, I know a lot of people in a similar boat were like, oh, fuck, what are we going to do? When me and Shara are at home, right, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. We're setting plans. The minute we knew we were like, right, so what can we do? Right. I'm calling the local MP, the local council, police officers, everybody in the area. Never even spoke to them in my life before. Am I allowed to do this? Am I allowed to do this? Am I allowed to? Yes, yes, no. All right. So those two yeses, I will do them. And can I elaborate? And can I build on this? Yes, that's what I'm going to do. So we did that. You know, we were the last ones to shut down, and we were doing everything that we're one of the last ones to shut down because I'd ticked all the boxes. Like, we're one of the first ones to open. Why? Because we've had this outdoor mobile gym built for our school program. If we weren't thinking that way previously, well, this has been excellent. We've got an outdoor mobile gym. All our clients can come back and train us and train with us now. Obviously, it's restricted. Yeah, but it's it's the way it is.
It just comes back to what we originally touched on, how you're always evolving as whatever really. It's just in your nature, and when you get thrown tough times, you just all right, you sit back, you have your moment, and then you just push forward. I admire that in you, mate. All right, we'll finish off.
If you
you go.
Yep. You go. And I was just going to say, and if you're not that way inclined, if you're not willing to push through, look, you feel like shit, obviously, when bad things go, when bad things happen to you. And there's been a few, obviously, that I'm not mentioning. And one day, I will make a few things public that have happened to me. I'm just probably not ready to say full things at the time, at the moment. But I will be soon. Mate. Well, that was what I said when that major thing happened to me. I said, this will be one chapter in my book that'll sell the fucker. So, look, it's just, if you're not that way inclined to get up on your feet and keep going, I honestly don't think business is really for you or look at all the successful business people.
Yeah.
Or sport or successful sport. Sport. Like I said to a guy that's watching now, Jack Creeth, the other week we had a meeting, and he mentioned it today to you when I said, and I said, do you want a business? Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing this. I said, do you ever want a successful business or just run a business? Yeah, successful. Okay, it's going to be fucking hard. Simple. Let's go. Let's get it moving now. Yeah.
All right, G. I'm just gonna finish. We'll start to wrap it up. But I just want, I'll chuck a couple questions at you. You just give me just a short, brief answer. All right?
Yep.
Proudest moment as a coach?
Probably when you won the Australian title. Prior to that, it was when Hoops beat Solomov at
Horn undercard.
On the Horn undercard when everybody told us we couldn't. But also, I remember when a lot of people were saying that Jack Bowen's no good a few years ago. And then when we just went like that.
Yeah.
At the Australian titles. And that was pretty much all it was to me. It was like, we said this would happen. And because we've lived every single day, it did. And then we could move on. It's time to go from there.
Jeez, we've been dealt our shit before we got that moment, though.
Yeah. And again, this will be part of the story.
100%. You can write it, though. All right. Best advice you've ever received?
Just work hard. If you want something, work hard. Come from my mum, my dad, early on. You've just got to. I remember my mum saying to me, my first day I got a job, she said, if he tells you to wipe his ass, you do it. Like, in other words,
sounds like my old man.
You do, yeah. But that's that generations of mindset. Just fucking do it. Don't complain. You're not going to start off at the top. Too many people now think that they want to start at the top. Holy shit! You don't start at the top. You start sweeping the floor, mate. That's the way it is.
Yeah, for sure. All right, something you do really well, something you don't do so well that you need to improve on.
Something that I do. Fucking hell. There's so many things that I don't do really well. Something that I do well. I think I have passion, and I think I know how to communicate to men a lot more than women. I think I think I communicate quite well with men. Yeah.
Okay. What about a downfall? Maybe like forgetting things. I think Shara might Back me up on
Can't
that
remember
one.
what you said. Can't remember what you said. No, a downfall, mate. I'll leave shit everywhere. I don't know where I put them.
Shit, yeah.
Don't worry. I've lost my phone 3 times already today.
Favorite fighter?
Favorite fighter, mate. There's a few, but I keep going back to Nigel Benn. Absolute
Always,
fighter, warrior, mate. I just remember living in that time when I was in my 20s and he was early 20s or 1920. I think I was in England at the time, and he was sort of him,
Massive.
Chris Eubank. The British super middleweight scene or super middleweight was huge, and I remember watching him and going, I would never teach anybody to box like him, but fuck, I love watching him.
Yeah, you wouldn't want it to be your kid, but
no, definitely
you'll watch
not.
it. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Dream holiday, G.
Dream holiday.
Can be a working holiday.
It'll have to be because I don't know anything else. I remember when we went to Thailand the other year, me and Shara and the kids. It took it. Well, we were there for 10 days. It took us 6 days before we stopped thinking about work.
Yeah, true. Sure.
Dream holiday. I don't know why. I've always wanted to see the pyramids in Egypt.
Yeah, no, you have said that before. It's a weird one, eh?
Don't know if it's a holiday, and some people say you see them and it's fucking over. So
just go there for the day.
I just remember. I remember my grandfather when he was in the war. Well, I don't remember when he was in the war, but he told me. He said he remembers laying in those trenches, looking at the pyramids, going, "How the fuck did they make these?" Like each stone block is massive. Nowadays, we couldn't even get the equipment to lift them. So how did they do it back then?
I'm sure that wouldn't be the
fascination.
only thing
I'd like to
thinking in the trenches.
No.
I wouldn't be worried about
right.
that.
Oh, shit. What time am I going home?
What time's the knock-off?
But
all right.
Yeah, that's right.
Next one, G. Vegas or the O2 in London for a fight? So MGM in Vegas or O2?
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I know.
O2
Actually,
in London.
I was going to ask you a question before. I had a moment where I was blank. But you know how we talked about ever evolving? Who's someone you look up to? I think I know the answer. Who's someone you look up to in the boxing world that helps you, that you can learn from?
Eddie Hearn, Barry Hearn.
Yes, yeah, I got that one.
Mate,
we should do a Gareth Williams quiz.
Mate, you'd know it. Mate, I've watched everything out there available on Barry Hearn because he started before Eddie did.
Yeah, because he had the darts and
he started the darts, stuff, snooker, everything else, and he has jokes. He has jokes because he calls Eddie Hearn the silver spoon.
Yeah,
but he was he was definitely working class, like, you know what I mean. Obviously, he gave a good life to his kids, but Eddie Hearn, what a worker, you know what I mean? Like the whole family, like.
Yeah, for someone who
I think I know it.
Yeah.
From somebody from the outside that's never met these guys, I think I know as much as I probably could about how their business started and evolved. I always looking for extra videos. I just can't see any that I haven't watched anymore. So, yeah.
All right, last one. We touched on your coaching memorable moment. What about as an athlete? What was your maybe your proudest moment, most memorable moment? You can make it up. No one's gonna research it.
When I did this chip and chase in the state of origin, no, mate. Look, it sort of this makes I get this makes me a bit emotional because I don't think I got where I wanted to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
We can leave it if you want.
No, it's good. I'm happy. I'm happy to bring it out and talk about it. I feel disappointed I had some good look. I had some highs, and a lot of people go, "Oh, he's done this, he's done that." But to me, man, I needed that top.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look, as far as I'm concerned, my time, I've learned to deal with it. As far as my time's come a little bit later as a coach, I'm realizing now it's coming. Now it's coming. It started evolving. I've had all these years of professional experience for a reason, and it's going to start. It's starting to come through now. Look, we've had a couple of guys that could have done anything in the world. Don Proudest could have been a world champion. Obviously, sad things happen. Had to leave, go overseas.
Yep.
And obviously, there's a couple of other guys as well. But you know, and there's yourself coming through. But yeah, I had some great moments in sport. Don't get me wrong. It's nothing that I did, but I always look back with a bit of regret. And to me, regret's the worst feeling anyone can ever have.
Just something still there.
Yeah.
You didn't tick everything off, or?
Yeah. And I got injured, and then and a few things. But I'm still not blaming injuries. I'm blaming me. I'm blaming me. And I remember listening to Tim Sheens one day, and he said, "I wish athletes could be coaches before they were athletes, like the other way around. Then they would get it.
Yeah.
Then they would get it." So that's why I try, and when I speak to you guys quite often, like every couple of weeks, we have a sit down, and after training and whatnot, and I'm trying to feed you a little bit of experience that I've had. And if you want to move on, I don't want you guys to have any regrets, because you've got a short window. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even I was having a conversation with someone the other day and talking about a lot of people learn as they make their own mistakes. And I think the biggest thing you've given me, well, probably not the biggest thing, but is I'm able to, you've always told me, since I've walked in the gym, learn from other people's mistakes and learn from their fuck-ups, just so you don't make the same thing. So I think even though you've got that regret, you've passed on so much knowledge, and like it's helped me live my life from I've been able to say, look at people we've had through the gym, and I'm not going to do that. That's a mistake. Or even, little things, whether it's boxing where you're saying, all right, keep your hands up here. It's because someone got knocked out that you've coached on that.
Something's happened. Exactly. Yeah.
Or don't go out in the piss. Don't go doing drugs. Okay. Well, I've learned the lesson, and that's why you don't do that. So
that's right.
If you do have that regret, it's like you've passed on that experience and knowledge, and then there's going to be things I do wrong, and I'll pass it on, and then eventually, that's how we learn and get better.
One thing that I learned through my sporting life, one thing that not many people can say they did this more than me. I worked really hard, right? I worked really, really hard. Boxing, rugby league, gymnastics. I was young and I was okay at it. You know what I mean? And I worked hard because I had to, but I still believe at that age I was doing too many hours. But that's what they do. Yeah. Cream rises to the top. Some fall away. That's the way. That's what happens, right? I get it. It's a numbers game. You get more people in, then one will pop out the other end. It's just like swimming.
We got a minute left, G.
Okay, yeah. So, look,
Sorry, mate.
Yeah, no, that's all good. I know what it's like when that happens. I've done a few times.
Pop that.
Look, really, really no regrets because of where I'm now with it. But I just wish I'd have got a bit higher. And if I'd have had this head on that person, I know I could have been anything. Yeah. Anything.
Hindsight, mate. All right, mate. Well, thanks for your time, G. I'm sure people take a lot from JB. That. Lots of lessons.
Nice work.
Give them a bit of some of my mates, because I took the live over today. They can have a bit of an insight into why I spent so much time at the gym and not out drinking. So
that's right. Yeah. And they think you're a loser.
All right, see you,
all right, good man.
Thanks again.
Make sure you save it so I can download it.
Yeah. No worries.
All right, see you, mate. Good man. Bye.